I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Well, today is the last day of our gratitude series, Gratitude Across Spiritual Traditions. And we looked at all these different traditions and how they celebrate gratitude over the last 4 weeks. And so today we're talking about Christianity. And I'm titling this talk, Finding Gratitude in Challenges Through the Teachings of Christianity. And we're going to look at Jesus' teachings, and we're going to look at some pretty amazing metaphysics in some of the things that he said that people for thousands of years just kind of went over their heads because they really didn't understand what he's saying. So we're going to look at that today and see how is he talking about gratitude, and how is he talking about being with our challenges and in a way that we can be grateful for them. And we're also going to look at the story of Joseph and how he was able to turn around what he experienced and find the gratitude in it. And I want to begin today by telling you a story. Let's go back here. First of all, I want to tell you that I sort of based this talk around the idea of Kintsugi. And Kintsugi is an art form where you take something that's broken, like a vase, right? And instead of throwing it away, you take it and you fill in the cracks with gold, right? So that it still carries that sentimental value that it has to you, but it also raises up the value of it by putting gold in it. And so it becomes even more valuable. It's almost like it's imperfectly perfect. It's a concept that I believe mirrors our journey on this spiritual path when we face our challenges with gratitude. So consider the idea that you are imperfectly perfect. Just as you are imperfectly perfect. So I want to tell a story about Joni Eareckson Tada. Anybody who know who she is? She's an amazing person that when she was 17 years old, had a diving accident. And she broke her neck and she became paralyzed. Right? And she says, I went through this horrible time in my life of feeling depressed and feeling angry and feeling sad. And I had all this stuff going on. And I was at the depths of my own despair, questioning my life. What is my purpose? How can I live now that I'm paralyzed from the neck down? She felt shattered, kind of like a broken piece of pottery with no clear path forward. But here's where Kintsugi comes in. Here's one of her paintings. She chose to find purpose and perfection in her brokenness. She became an artist, painting, holding the brush in her mouth. Can you imagine? Between her teeth. She also became a renowned author and an advocate for people with disabilities. Wow. Through her journey, she filled the cracks in her experience with gold. She found gratitude. She found hope. She found purpose in the places where she was broken. Another character that I like is there's another one of her paintings. I thought they were kind of appropriate for us going into the Christmas season. It reminds me of our friend Joseph from the book of Genesis. You might remember Joseph, right? His brothers, he got this coat of many colors. Remember that story? And his brothers were jealous of him, and so they took him and they threw him in this pit and imprisoned him and sold him into slavery. And he ended up in the palace, in the prison in the palace, where he foretold the dreams, interpreted the dreams of the king, and therefore was able to save the country of Israel. Wow, it's an amazing story. And what even brings more color to it was that he became royalty. He became a leader. And as the story goes, he handed out food to the poor during the famine and gave the whole country a positive way of looking at what happened. And interestingly enough, even his brothers, who threw him in a hole, a pit, were there, and with love, Joseph offered them food. And this experience, this painful experience, became an opportunity for him to turn his cracks and fill them with silver and to create an amazing, powerful experience out of it. It kind of talks about or shows us how we too can be resilient, how we too can experience transformation even in the midst of our challenging times. Perhaps to make us even more beautiful than before, to turn our imperfections into perfection. Just like Joni and Joseph, we can embrace our cracks in our own lives and see them as part of our story. Imagine that, to see the challenges that you have gone through as a part of your story. Part of your story to embrace rather than to push away and feel angry about. And we're going to look at today, what can we do? What can we learn from embracing our cracks? And I hope that as we talk about these things, that you'll think about the areas in your life where you thought that you were broken, where you thought that a difficult experience was something that you couldn't capture value from, that perhaps you'll find some way, something to find value in the challenges that you've had. So from our cracks, we can reveal our strengths. Joni's accident revealed strengths that she didn't even know she had. Her ability to inspire millions of people through her artwork, through her book, through her example of lifting up people with disabilities. And Joseph's time in captivity helped him find his truth, right? To find his ability to interpret the king's dreams. And from them, they were able to put a lot of grain and things away to prepare for a famine that was coming. So he, in a sense, changed that entire nation. And our cracks deepen our self-awareness. If we look at ourselves and the things that we've gone through and the things that we've experienced, we can find that oftentimes the challenges we have help to reveal the essence of who we are. True for you? Can you look at a time in your life when you thought that, oh my God, things are horrible, right? how am I ever going to get through this? But somehow you had the endurance, you had the strength, you had the power, you had the way, the intelligence, the wisdom to get through that challenging time. So our cracks deepen our self-awareness. This power happens, and we open ourselves to gratitude when we really allow ourselves to experience the gratitude for what we have gone through and for what we became in that process. So how what is this repair process? What is it? How can we apply these principles to our lives? How can we apply the idea of Kintsugi to our lives, and so that we can find gratitude in it? So let's look at some ways. The first practice in doing that is to be accepting, to mend our cracks and accept what we've been through. There's a great metaphysical scripture that I like, where Jesus says in Matthew 11:28, he says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Now, we can imagine that back in Jesus' time, he was probably a great counselor, a great therapist, and people came to him. And can you just hear him saying this, right? And we might say, well, that was good for those people, but what does it mean for me? So let's look at the deeper meaning of this. Now, as we understand Jesus in unity and Sinners for Spiritual Living, Jesus was a human being. He was a man, right? And sometimes he spoke as that man, and sometimes he spoke as the Christ. He's speaking to us as our higher self. And that's the message I think that people have missed for thousands of years. Because they think, well, they look at this and they go, well, he's just talking about back then. No, he's talking about right now. And what he is saying is that he's talking about bringing our challenges, bringing the things that we're dealing with into our higher selves, right? And holding those challenges in our Christ consciousness. Can you see that? Can you see how that is powerful, right? And rather than reacting to them out of anger or fear or whatever, just imagine taking these things into your higher self, into that Christ presence within you, and holding these challenges, these difficult times with your Christ self. And he says, Jesus is saying, if you take your challenges into your higher self and breathe into them, I will give you peace. I, as the Christ presence within you, will bring you peace. And we're going to talk about how does that happen? How do we find peace in the midst of these challenges? So the second part of this restoration or this repair process is self-reflection and meditation. So this is a two-pronged concept that Jesus is inviting us into. And I love what he says here. This just blows my mind. And he says, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened. So who is he saying to ask? Our higher self, right? He says, so when you have a challenge, ask your higher self, right? We might say something like, how does this challenge serve me? How does this difficult time that I'm facing serve me? What opportunities for growth are within this struggle? Anybody ever have challenges? And when oftentimes our first response is to get it out of here. I don't want to deal with it, right? But what if we take it on, take it into that Christ presence, right? And say, okay, what can I learn from this? What is this experience here to teach me? What within me needs to show up to deal with this situation in a peaceful and loving way. So take a breath into that. Right? Remember, the Christ presence is within you. That amazing, all-knowing, wonderful place of love and peace isn't out there. We're not praying to some God out there or some Jesus out there. It'd be nice if he was here. We keep looking for him. It's so funny, isn't it? We keep looking for him. We keep looking for God. The great mystery of religion and spirituality is, where is he? Is he out there? And it's hidden right in here, in the most obvious place. That's where the Christ presence is. So take a breath, and when you have a challenge, we ask ourselves, okay, how does this challenge serve me? What can I learn from this? I'm not pushing it away. I'm inviting it in. What qualities or attributes am I developing by facing this hardship, this challenge? These questions are the gold. They are the gold in Kintsugi, right? Because we pull these in and they begin to put the pieces back together again. So we don't see ourselves as something fractured, but we begin to remember that we're whole. So that's the first part of this step. The next part is meditation. I think it's so amazing to me. In my 30 years being involved in New Thought, this to me was the most powerful realization that I ever had. The most powerful technique that we have, that Jesus gives us, that all spirituality really gives us to help us with our challenges. And it involves being aware, accepting, right? Self-reflection, and then meditation. The majority of my meditation time is spent asking a question and listening for the answer. All the wise teachers that you need are right here. All of the wisdom in all of the books is right here. And it's usually around the two basic teachings of Jesus, which were love and forgiveness. If you got that, you got it all. Wow. So we want to turn to meditation and spend time in meditation. People say, well, Rev, I can't sit in the silence. Don't sit in the silence. Ask yourself a question and listen for the answer. I'm that way too. I sit in the silence, I fall asleep. I ask myself a question, I am there. And the answer is there. Sometimes it might take a day or two. It might take me asking, right? Because who am I asking? I'm asking myself. I'm asking myself to reveal to me, what do I need to know to get through this challenge? And, I can go to all the teachers in the world, and they may not know what my issue is, right? But I know what my issues are if I'm willing to self-reflect and to face them. So, and the third part of this three-pronged practice is affirmations. And I kind of, in the process of writing this talk, there's a number of definitions for what affirmations are, but I came up with this one, and I had never thought of it before. So this was the affirmation statement that I came up with. Affirmations are positive statements that verbalize our determination, create immediate action, and visualize completion. Right? They verbalize my determination. If we go back and look at the affirmations, how does this challenge, oops, that's not an affirmation, those are questions. Let's go to the affirmations. So the affirmations are, I choose to fill my cracks, or what is this? I am grateful. Sorry about that. Here we go. I am grateful for the challenges that reveal my hidden strengths. So it's a positive statement saying that I am grateful for the challenges that I have that reveal my hidden strengths. So what I'm looking to accomplish is to reveal what my hidden strengths are. Right? So we want to begin with the end in mind, with what I want. Affirmations are positive statements that I'm verbally stating my intention, my determination to create immediate action. Right? We can do all the affirmations in the world, but unless we take action, nothing's going to happen. We can affirm, I'm prosperous, I'm prosperous, I'm prosperous, money's growing trees, but unless I get out and make it happen, nothing's going to happen. A lot of people think, you can sit around and affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm, and the universe is going to open up to you and give you stuff. But the truth of it is, affirmations are positive statements that we are verbalizing our intention and create immediate action. I'm going to verbalize it, affirm it, and then I'm going to go out and do something about it. And I am visualizing what it is I'm going to have. So I'm saying to the universe, yes, I'm present. This is what I want. I'm determined. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm seeing it complete right now. So let's kind of reflect on, this is our affirmation for today. Each challenge I face brings me closer to my highest potential. Let's say that together. Each challenge I face brings me closer to my highest potential. So reflect for a moment on the image of the shattered vase being repaired with gold. Imagine that's you. Imagine that you are this shattered vase. This imperfect, yet perfect beingness. And just as the broken pottery becomes beautiful again, your scars, your cracks can lead you to experiencing the fullness of who you are. Joni and Joseph remind us that our scars do not diminish us. Instead, they add beauty and depth to our lives. We are imperfect, yet perfect. So I invite you to look at your challenges with new eyes, to see them as opportunities for transformation. They're opportunities for you to fill your cracks with gold and to assume your highest potential. So this week, I invite you to reflect on a current or past challenge and consider that you can be grateful for it and see it as an opportunity to fill your cracks with gold so you can experience the perfection of who you are. When I was teaching first grade years ago, we did a unit on butterflies, right? It was always first grade curriculum to go through the whole life cycle of a butterfly. And it was so great because we could order this exhibit that came to our classroom, and it was an exhibit that actually had the stages of a butterfly's life in it, and it had real butterflies. So we got to watch over weeks the progression, the evolution of little caterpillars climbing up on a branch, forming a cocoon, and then breaking out of the cocoon and becoming butterflies. And such a great analogy. And I loved it because I got to talk to the children about what that meant, that transformation, what that meant. One day we're doing the class, and I had my class for science divided up in different areas of the classroom. And the kids would go from one area to the next. So I have, 5 kids here, 5 kids here, 5 kids here, 5 kids here. And these 5 kids over here were looking at the butterfly display. And I went over and we talked about what was happening, and then I went to the next place, the next place. And when I came back over here, I noticed that one of the chrysalis, the cocoon, was laying on the ground, and it was open, and there was a dead butterfly next to it. And I said, "What happened?" And one of the kids in my class said, "Well, Mr. Tinsley, the butterfly was having a hard time getting out." Right? So I helped it. And I pulled open the cocoon, and the butterfly came out, and he landed on the table. And then he died. Boy, didn't realize that struggle was necessary. The butterfly had to struggle to open its wings, right, in order to build up the strength in order to fly. And this story illustrates how our challenges often serve as a purpose in helping us grow and develop and to build the resilience to thrive and the gratitude to live. And they're the key to the struggles that we have in our lives. Each challenge I face brings me closer to my highest potential. Say that with me. Each challenge I face brings me closer to my highest potential. I invite you to close your eyes. Now let's take just a few moments for meditation. Breathing in at your own pace. Breathing in and breathing out. Letting the breath embrace your full awareness, to relax into your chair, into this moment, and just to let go. And visualize some challenge that you might be facing right now, at this time in your life. And if nothing comes to you, visualize something from the past that was a challenge. Breathing in and breathing out. So imagine as you picture this challenge, that it's like a broken vase. Imagine that you have the artistic ability to take these pieces and put them back together again. Imperfect as they are. And then you fill in all of the crevices with gold. And as you do this, imagine that this same healing is happening to you in this current challenge or in one from the past. And take a breath, breathing in. And then imagine that this vase transforms into you, a vision of yourself. And imagine that you can hold this image of yourself with love, with joy, with gratitude. And see yourself as perfect. Imperfect, yet perfect. Hold this vision of yourself for a moment or two. Imperfect, yet perfect. Each challenge I face brings me closer to my highest potential. Breathing in and breathing out. I invite you to gently begin to bring your awareness back to this moment. To be aware of where you're sitting, this moment, your perfection as you open your eyes. And so it is. Namaste. So, without much further ado, without doing anything further, why don't we stand and we'll pray together the prayer for protection, and then we'll join in a circle as our band leads us in the peace song. So for ourselves, for this ministry, for all life, let's pray together the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. God bless you, friends. Have a great week. And
where I live, they're all raised.